Hello and welcome. As many people seem to assume with any new boss, a lot just go and assume that the rich gets richer with bosses like Nex, KBD, Fight Kill. God Wars was an old one, and with the new Kalphite King. People just assume that you need to be rich to make money. With some bosses, it may be true to a certain extent, but in my personal opinion, I do not believe there are any bosses that require a lot of money to make money. And what I mean by a lot is more than maybe 5 millish to buy essential items. Well, prices do change, so maybe just enough to make enough to buy a level 70 barrel set with a whip, obby shield is fine, and even all that in today's prices is under 2 mil. And the reason for these items is it's all you really need to do for solo PVM. If you want to do team PVM, it's even easier and actually more efficient to a certain point. But anybody who does not have like at least 45 defense for Void, well, there isn't really any boss money making method that you can do, but there are still non-boss monsters that are just a bit as efficient. Every time somebody asks me what is a fast money making method, the answer they're usually looking for is what's the fastest way I can make money but at the same time not use any effort. There is just never a good answer I can give without some form of effort being put in, but like Dragon Slaying for hides isn't bad. It used to be bad pre-EOC because it was bot infested. It still is now, but now in the EOC, you could just tag the monster to get the drop, which you can do this against bots. I actually made a good couple mil on my Dose to Mill series because of this. And just let the bots finish off the kill for you. How much easier could it get? Now, tagging Dragon Slayers, it's not the best money per hour. It's about 1 mil per hour for just getting the first hit. It may take a while to get like 30 mil or whatever your goal may be, but it is consistent money. And that's the choice you have to make. Would you rather spend 1 hour to make 1 mil for sure? Or would you rather spend 1 hour to make 500k and a 60% chance to make an extra mil? If you get a drop, it was worth it. If you don't, well, that's kind of the risk you take. But on to the main topic of this video is that you do not need as much money as you think you need to do PVM. And this video is a fine example. I'm using a rapier, but that's because I didn't want to make somebody do a 1 hour kill with me just using a whip. And that would have been kind of frustrating to do. But this also comes back to, you can't really expect to fight one of the most difficult bosses in the game with a whip, and expect to do just as good as somebody who went and got a chaotic. And since the generator was released like years ago now, there have been numerous double Dungeon XP weekends, and there have been many changes, and there have been also many chances to level up DG. There are even daily DG challenges, and it's just not that hard to get level 80 Dungeonary for your first chaotic anymore. And if you were to get your first chaotic, I would probably suggest a chaotic wall because it's the only item that's not really broken at the moment. But not counting the cost for gear, it also comes down to knowledge for doing certain bosses. There are brainless bosses where you just auto attack like the 4 God Wars bosses, and then there are some more strategy based bosses like Nex. Kalphite King is also a prime example. If you know enough about the king, you could duel with no food, which isn't much of a feat once you know their attacks because you just keep healing from the green attack and heal to full HP. And the reason I didn't do a dual Kalphite King no food in proper bot gear with a whip, no overload, no curse prayer, is because I would have to ask one of my friends and ask him if what could take maybe around 3 hours to do to get a proper clip, and the kill would be around an hour and 20 minutes. And the reason it's an hour and 20 minutes is simply because the Kalphite King has such a high defense and such high HP. It isn't a boss where you get damaged no matter what. It is a boss where if you have the proper knowledge with a shield on, you use almost no food. But that's kind of like the thing I love and hate about this boss, that it's basically a more intense co-op Jad. Most of its damage attacks are blockable. Incendiary shot is predictable. You heal the green attack rather than barricade it if the minions are not out. You are able to absorb the blue balls with resonance, which is also predictable. If you wait for the Kalphite King to use his 2 bleeds, you can use Freedom right after that to get rid of both bleeds instead of just one of them. Although when he does the bleed the second time, your Freedom is usually still on cooldown, but that's pretty much it. You just keep healing from his attacks and do what damage you can until he dies. So if you wanted to do the Kalphite King and did not have access to the new Dragor weapons or a Steel Titan in the team, your kill speeds would be around 1 kill per person per hour. What I mean by this is like in a 10-man team you would get around 10 kills per hour, give or take like 2 kills. In an 8-man team you might get around 8 kills per hour. And it just averages out to just a bit more than 1 kill per person per hour. So this entire kill was about 30 minutes long. Since prices are still so high, it's probably still worth doing even without high value items, even if it's maybe level 70 or level 80 items. If you want to take, I think the drop rate's around 1 in 30, but it may have changed. I'm not entirely sure on that. But the value of the item's still around 200 mil or more or less. It changes by the time this video is made. But it'll be worth it if you hold out until a drop, and that's all there is to it. Can you hold out until you get a drop? Well, this drop isn't a good example of a good drop, but it would have taken about 30 hours to get an actual drop duo in bot gear, and I just don't have anybody on my friends list that's willing to do that over just doing legit dual kills in like 3 minutes. This video is just to show that it's doable in this gear. Weapon choice only determines how fast you kill. Even with the healing nerf on Rejuvenate, it's still easily doable to just tank the Kalphite King on hours on end. If the point wasn't made in this video, it was just you don't need high value items to kill the Kalphite King. So thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.